Hey everyone, this is Senor Stationery again, and today's review is on the Faber Castell uh, small LED holder. Small LED pointer. Sorry, the 5041. So let's take a look at it and also take a look at the evolution of its design. Thank you, Mr. Lego Man. So currently, Faber Castell makes its small LED pointer for its TK pencils. Let me show you. For this one, its main popular and well-known TK 9400. What you do is you click on the push button and drop the LED, and when you need to point it out, then you introduce the LED on the little hole and sharpen it and get a point when you need it. Faber Castell has long dropped its cylindrical LED pointer, which was a big top green one. If you take a look at my other reviews, you'll see that one. They stopped making it like around the 1980s, and it was a much larger one than the well-known Staedtler one. So they currently still make this one, the small one. And this one, as you can take a look, it has the dark green tone, same as the current LED holder. If you take a look around, if you can appreciate on the camera, it has the prancing knights on the logo top, and then it says Faber Castell since 1761. If we take a look on the back, it says the model. They now changed the name to 184100 article number, but it is well known as the 5041. It says made, and then it has like a newer part, plastic part that says China, and here sideways also it says China. At some point, like around the late 1990s to 2000s, they started producing them in China. It has the same type of blade, has the same square shape as older one since the 1970s, but now it's made in China. They have moved the production to China. I believe I have this theory that Eisen, the German sharpener maker, since they moved, sorry, that's the word I was looking for. Since they moved the production to China, I believe they are the ones who provide these LED pointers to Faber Castell, so that's why they changed to China. Because if we take a look at older ones, well, they were made in Germany. So this is the current one, since the 1990s, has the 90s green tone and square shape. But let's take a look at their older versions. The first one was made in this brighter green and more semi-translucent one. Kind of brings, maybe, I'm not sure, but this could be like bakelite, or it reminds me a lot of bakelite plastic. As you can see, it has a more rounded shape. It has the vintage oval logo with the shield and the Faber Castell vintage type. And on the back it says number 5041, made in Germany. As you can see, this is the earliest version one. This was made in since the 1950s, around the 1950s, all the way to the 60s. And it was interesting because this was on a display that was like a cardboard, and it has like rubber bands, and they had all of them like this, all pointed together, and the sketch of the drawing of the LED holder, so people will understand that this is the sharpener for the LED. So this is the earliest one, the light green one. And then we have also eventually they moved to around the 70s. They still kept the oval logo and the code for shield, the shield logo and oval with font Faber Castell, but then they changed to a square shape. They still, as the earlier versions, they still kept a brass. This was a very nice touch. It had a brass screw, so it didn't rust it. What could rust was the blade, but the screw was still brass. And this old one that I got still has its original shine and luster, so it's a pretty nice look to it. Then in the 70s they kept that lighter green or sort of olive green tone, and also still had the brass, but the blade changed. If you take a look at the blade, has this distinctive one in the 60s. On the 70s it became a slightly larger, and they probably changed also the angle of sharpening. So this is the one since the 70s, changed to all the way to the one that we use today. If we take a look to the current one, it's pretty much the same, except that the logo changed. This is the oval vintage one. This is the current font with the prancing knights, and it now says in 1761. That's the earliest year Faber products were produced. So again, this is the 1970s. Then again, around the 70s all the way to the 90s, they kept the same shape again, the vintage logo, which lasted for a long time. But then the screw now is a regular metal. They took away the brass, so they kept cost cutting. Again, this was still made in Germany, 5041. And at some point during the late 90s, they introduced this one, the darker one. So as you can see, this is the darker green current one. Now the screw is for the cross shaped screw, but the earlier ones had only one-sided screw. So here we can see the evolution of production and detailing. This one has a more detailed logo than the more current one, because around all the way until the 90s they kept this vintage logo. They had not made any changes to it, and this was still made in Germany. All the way throughout the 90s it was made in Germany. Then around the late 90s, early 2000s, that's when they switched the production to China. That's why they covered here. Now it says China, and here it is, China. I have also an interesting one which I want to share you. Let me take a look. There is one last one. This is an extra bonus one that I want to show you. Okay, let me see. Here it is. Here it is, a very rare one. And I happened to find this one while wandering on a local neighborhood stationery shop. Again, this is like the same old one, as you can see, same shape, but a more darker green. This is the German one, the lighter plastic, kind of bakelite type. This one is a more solid plastic, darker green, same type of blade. The screw is metals, not brass. But if we take a look on the back, it says number 5041 and hecho en Mexico. So this one is a Mexican one, a very rare one and a strange find, which I found on a neighborhood stationery shop. And I was very lucky to find this one, because you barely see any vintage Faber Castell items in stationery shops, and much less here in Mexico. So this was an interesting relic, vintage relic. I had no idea they actually produce stuff here, and much less the Leadpointer. So this is probably like one of a kind, a very rare version. I'm curious to know if there have been any other places besides Germany and USA where Faber Castell has produced their lead holders. But at least now I know that their lead holders have been produced besides Germany. They also made this one in Mexico, which is the vintage original form, and currently they're made in China. So if anyone has any products made in their countries that are very rare, it will be nice if you can point out and share with us. And you may want to share that on our comments section. And again, this is it. These are the full Faber Castell collection that I have from the little 5041 lead holders. Let's take a look. These are all together. So again, thanks for watching. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned for more reviews, as I'll be posting more interesting things for you to appreciate. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.